Welcome back to Let's Play Out of the Park Baseball 22, Episode 4 with our Texas Rangers here. We just finished up the 2021 season, so this will be the off-season, the winter between 2021 and 2022. That's what we're doing today. We're taking a look at our owner goals. So our owner gives us a list of goals, some of them short-term, some of them long-term, and we do our best to try to meet them throughout the year so that we don't get fired. So let's go ahead and look at it. One of our expectations was for the team record not to suck completely. We went 73 and 89. He felt like we didn't really meet that criteria. He felt like we sucked. I felt like we were on kind of the borderline of sucking / not sucking, but I'm not going to argue. It's semantics. So he wasn't too happy with our team record overall. He said it was certainly nothing to write home about, but it wasn't a disaster season either. He wanted us to acquire a Gold Glove winner. We did that by acquiring J.P. Crawford. He wanted us to find a top 20 prospect. We did. Jack Leiter is ranked as the number 16th prospect in the game currently, so we drafted him second overall. That's how we did it. It was probably the easiest way to acquire a top prospect is to draft one because you have one of the first two picks because your team stinks. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Building your farm, that was one of our goals. We built our farm system up. Obviously, Jack Leiter is a big part of that, so he's happy there. And then long-term, our goal is to reach the playoffs. We have not done that yet. So going forward, he wants us to don't suck completely. So I think in this case, to make him happy, we'll have to go closer to 500. He wants us to have a final total balance of $17 million. He wants us to bring more of our drafted players to the team, and he wants to keep building the team up in order to reach the playoffs in the next 4 seasons. He will check in again with us. Good luck. Our new budget, $146 million. That would allow us to have a team payroll of around $90 million. So there you go. We have retirements from our pitching and hitting coach. They're both older gentlemen, so I can understand why, but we'll have to find new ones there. Top prospect list, there it is. Jack Leiter, actually the 5th highest according to this. David Mariscal of the Brewers is the highest. Congratulations to him. But yeah, Jack Leiter, a top prospect, and Lawler was drafted first overall in that draft by the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's up there too. So there's your prospects. A lot of guys have graduated. Offseason begins, and that also means that arbitration begins. So let's go ahead and skip to arbitration, where we'll be negotiating with our arbitration-eligible players, as well as, taking a look at some of the unrestricted free agents that are leaving the team. All right, we're here on our arbitration screen. Couple of guys that are first-year ARB eligible: Matt Bush, Brett Martin, Tyler Matsek, and Delino DeShields. As things stand, DeShields did not play for the MLB club, although he did play fairly well for AAA Round Rock. However, I think I will be non-tendering him, so we're going to withdraw there and not offer him a contract. J.P. Crawford finished as a one-WAR player, mostly because of his defense. He was not hitting well. He's going to be someone that we, keep around for sure. Although I don't think I'm going to bump up his pay that much. Let's see what he did last year, just try to get an idea of what he's done. Okay, so I'm going to probably bump him up to but I'll offer 2.6 or something like that, because we're trying to nickel and dime these guys a little bit. So we'll do that. That'll be our offer to him. Falefa, pretty similar season from him. He made $2 million the year before, and so I think I'm just going to offer him the 2.6 as well. Maybe 2.5. Let's do that. Nickel and diming. Rafael Montero was great for us. 0.5 WAR, so his ratios were fine. By ratios, I mean home runs, walks, and strikeouts. BABIP, he definitely got lucky, but he's still a good pitcher, and so I'd be interested in offering him an extension, see what he wants. He would take a 1-year, $3 million deal. Okay. I think I'm just gonna... Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Would he take 1.8 million? I mean, not 1.8, sorry. 2.8 million? Okay. So hopefully he'll just take that. We'll skip arbitration. Tyler Matsek is next up. He was actually very good for us. He was decent in Atlanta, but he was much better with us than he was in Atlanta. So happy to keep him around for sure. His first year ARB is looking like 1.2 million. I don't know about that, but he was good in 2020 as well, so that could make things difficult. What does he want? He would do 1.3. I'm going to offer... Would he do 1.15, I guess? Maybe. Let's try that. He might not, now that I think about it. Okay, I'm going to offer him... We'll just keep it at the 1.2. That's the suggested amount. Brett Martin was solid for us too. And what does he want? These aren't exactly high stakes negotiations, I must say. You think about 960, Brett. Okay. And then last guy, Matt Bush, who's pitched most of the year in AAA. I must admit, wasn't bad in AAA, but it would be $800,000 to keep him around. I'm going to withdraw on him, so we'll non-tender him. There's going to be relievers out there that are of this caliber that we'll be able to get on minor league deals or very low-cost major league deals, so I'm okay with that. Now, our pending free agents are Drew Butera, Charlie Culberson, Chris Davis, and Ian Kennedy. Culberson was just kind of a disaster. We had him in a platoon role where he was playing third base against lefties mostly, and it didn't really work. So, and then Chris Davis, his very expensive contract has just ran out. I'm probably going to let these two guys walk. Ian Kennedy, I'd be interested in taking a look at. See how much money he wants, because he was good for us this year. I did like having him on the team. Okay, he wants a 3-year deal. I'm not giving him that at age 36. So Drew Butera is probably the main guy I would want to bring back, and he would take a 1-year deal, and I would give it to him because he's a captain and he has good catcher ability. Can he hit well? No, but he can help this team in other ways. So we're gonna take on Butera, and if there's a better backup catcher out there that we find later, that's okay. It's 1.3 million. It's not a huge dent in our budget. So we're gonna offer to Butera. The other guys I've noticed are these guys. I'm gonna offer minor league extensions to. This is generally how I do it. Just come in and just. I think there's like a button to offer all these guys minor league extensions, but I'll just do it kind of one by one. And then Dennis Santana is a different sort of beast, because what I would like to do with Dennis is just probably, I didn't realize his contract was expiring. I'm going to sign him to a major league deal, which is what he wants, and I'm going to add him to the 40-man. So, because I would like to keep him around. He's only 25, and he has some good ratings. His season in AAA wasn't great, but I think he's an arm that we would be worth having on the team, at least available to us. So I don't want to lose him. So we're going to skip ahead to, I guess, awards are next. Season awards. Yeah, okay. So Butera signed, Montero signed, Santana signed, Martin signed. So those are the guys we've offered. And then, so yeah, next thing we'll have is the season awards. All right, we have our awards right here. The lone award I think we won was Taylor Trammell's Gold Glove. He won a Gold Glove award in left field. Was able to run his WAR up to a 1.3, which is impressive because he was playing left field and he had an 82 OPS plus. So that was somewhat impressive in a way to hit so badly, but also, win a Gold Glove and have a WAR over 1. So, and he's also a captain, so he's going to be a guy we're going to be wanting to keep around, even though this wasn't a great season for him. Brandon Marsh, I see, won a Gold Glove as well, and that's interesting because he only played 74 games at the major league level, so he must have been killing the game defensively there. David Fletcher, fan favorite of the channel, wins at second base, and then, none of these guys are too surprising, but 3 Angels won Gold Glove, so good for them. And the National League, here's your winners. Not a lot of surprises here. I guess Jock maybe in left, a little bit of a surprise. But yeah, these are kind of the usual suspects. Pache's obviously, a prospect known for his glove, and Betts wins every year. So Hendricks won the reliever of the year, unanimous. Good for him. He's one of the best relievers in the league if utilized properly. Tony La Russa moved on. Devin Williams with that airbender. He is also the unanimous winner of reliever of the year. Let me just double check here. We didn't have anyone get votes here. Okay, no, we didn't. Silver Sluggers, there you go. There's your Silver Slug winners. Good hitters. National League Silver Slug winners. Congratulations. Trammell. Oh, here's a nice article on Trammell about how he's working to give back to his community. That's lovely. Let's see here. Best rookie. Rookie of the year, Wander Franco wins. Not unanimous, though. He had a fantastic season. So it's good for Jared Kelenic for at least making it competitive because Wander was just insane. Andrew Vaughn gets third. They all had great seasons. In the National League, Pavin Smith, who I'm a big fan of. Pavin Smith wins Rookie of the Year. He's off to a pretty good start in real life, too. Brian Hayes gets second. And then Jonathan India, Ha-Seong Kim, and Nick Lodolo finish 3, 4, 5. So there you go. And then American League Manager of the Year, Kevin Cash. The Rays won the World Series. Dave Roberts wins National League Manager of the Year. They won 112 games, but did not win the World Series. And then Bieber is your AL Cy Young winner. There you go. There's his numbers. Unanimous. Walker Buehler is your Cy Young winner in the NL. There you go. Good for him. Your AL MVP. Ooh, an incredibly close race. One of the closest races is you have Kyle Tucker, an Astros outfielder, against George Springer, a former Astros outfielder, but George Springer just beats him out. But this is going to be a controversial finish, I imagine. But yeah, they were pretty close statistically. But there you go. That's how that ended up. Mookie Betts wins this one. This is an even weirder race because Kyle Schwarber had way more first place votes, as did Freddie Freeman. But so I don't know what was necessarily going on there. But Mookie Betts wins. I guess he just got a bunch of second place votes, and these guys all kind of got shafted in terms of their second place votes. So here's Schwarber's stats. I wouldn't have given that. Well, he hit 58 home runs though, so I kind of get that. Freddie Freeman's stats are right here. And Betts' stats are right here. I probably would have given it to Freeman, to be honest with you. It's tough to say. What about Tatis? Yeah, he was great too. It's a tough one. But Betts wins MVP. He joins Frank Robinson, I believe is the only players to win MVP in the AL and the NL. So congrats to Betts. And those are the awards. So next up is free agency. Oh, actually, yeah, no, that is next up. Free agency is next up. Okie dokie, salary arbitration filings. Matsek won against us. JP Crawford, we won that one, and that was a huge win because that was a $900,000 difference, so that's helpful. And then Kiner Falefa, we won that one. The team won that one, so Matsek won, but the bigger money wins were with Crawford and Kiner Falefa, so I'm glad I went to arbitration with those guys for the most part. It did save us some cash. And now we have our free agency filings. And we also have some prospects, I guess you would call them prospects, coming over to join MLB from various foreign leagues. There you go. There they are. No one from Japan. But yeah, this is probably the best one. I don't think I'm going to sign any of these guys, but yeah, let's look at the free agents. So here's your top free agents. Syndergaard, Correa, Simmons, Stroman, Schwarber, he was listed as a catcher for some reason. Was he playing catcher for the Nationals? Let's go look at that. No, he's playing left field for them. Well, he's listed as a catcher. Interesting. I know he has some ability to play catcher. I know he's played there. You know, maybe some as like a pro, like not at MLB level, but maybe in the minors, or maybe he was drafted as one. But it's interesting he's listed as a catcher. Arenado, Bryant, Donnie Barrels, Max Scherzer, Iglesias. Yeah, and then kind of should see, you know, where this big free agency class for the shortstops are. So Seager's there. He's a free agent. Let's just look at these shortstops. Simeon reached, but yeah, some of these guys, so like, did Baez get his extension, you know, for example? Yeah, it looks like he took the qualifying offer, interestingly enough. I'm a little bit surprised by that. And then Story was kind of the other one, right? Story got paid by the Rockies, so there you go. Okay, so we kind of avoid the big shortstop class that we thought was going to happen with those. But yeah, those are the free agents, and I'll be keeping you all updated as I hit the market, because this is our first real offseason where we get to sign players. The biggest free agent this year, I think, is Nolan Aronado. He, with that 6.9 WAR season, he actually decided to exercise his opt-out from St. Louis. So he's asking for $35 million per, but yeah, he's looking like the biggest, at least hitting free agent that's available. So that's interesting. And then, your top pitchers, Bauer exercises his opt-out as well. And then, Scherzer. So yeah, it's just a couple of the top guys. The pitching is definitely interesting. I could definitely see myself grabbing, one of these pitchers, because I do have some coin that I can spend. Okay, time for Hall of Fame voting. I actually have a video on this channel where I talk about the Hall of Fame ballot from the previous year. So I'm going to vote for Abreu. I'm going to vote for Bonds. I'm going to vote for Burley. I'm going to vote for Clemens. I'm going to vote for Helton. I'm going to vote for Jones. I'm going to vote for... Should I vote for Poppy? I guess, right? Let's keep going, though. I'll vote for Roland. Everyone knows I vote for Sosa. I vote for Wagner. Okay, I have one more spot. Who do I want to give that vote to? Kurt Schilling, year 10. You know what, guys? It's a video game. He never said those things in a video game. So, right. Okay, so Jose Leclerc has had a setback with his Tommy John. It'll be 9 months until he's ready to play. It was previously looking at, 4 or 5 months until he was ready to play. To be honest with you, he's a great player. I'm told his injury proneness is durable. That doesn't seem to be the case, but yeah, Leclerc's a good reliever. I just think at this point it's really hard to count on him, to be a part of this team going forward. But he's still owed some money over the next 3 years, so hopefully he can get healthy, get right. But again, I'm not really relying on him. It would just be a fun bonus whenever he's healthy. So we're here at the winter meetings. We're going to get maybe a few trade emails potentially. Nope. Okay. So the next event up for the offseason is the Rule 5 draft. So let's get to that, because for a rebuilding team, sometimes you can find some gems in that Rule 5 draft. Okay, cool. Rule 5 draft here. Usually relievers are who you end up with in the Rule 5 draft. And I got to say that seems to be the case here. I actually just went ahead and DFA'd Jake Brentz, so he is also Rule 5 draft eligible. I don't think I'm going to pick him, though. I guess I wouldn't really pick him. I would add him to the 40-man if that was what I wanted to do. But I've cleared up some space on my 40-man, and the guy I want is actually Ian Hamilton here. I like Ian Hamilton. I like that he has 35 stamina instead of the usual 30. He's just a good all-around pitcher, it looks like. So I think, if there's anyone I want to give a shot, it's Ian Hamilton, and then maybe Nick Nelson. Maybe I come back around and grab Nick Nelson on the second round if I can. So we'll go ahead and draft Ian Hamilton for now. And then if Nick Nelson's available at the turn, I'll pick him too. That I will. And the thing is about these guys, so you have to keep them on your active roster for the whole year, or else they will be returned to their original organization. However, you can also trade them. So like I did with Brett DeGuss last year, you can turn around and trade these guys, and then the team that you trade them to will have to maintain that stipulation. So until I get this bullpen figured out, it's good to add Hamilton and Nelson to the mix. And, just like a lot of teams do in real life, hey, if it doesn't work out roster-wise, you can cut them or you can trade them to someone else. And so they're basically free baseball players, There you go. So give me that. And, let's go ahead and then finish off this draft. I wonder if any of our guys will be picked. I don't know. Let's find out. Nope, it looks like TJ Friedel was the only other player picked, so congrats to him joining the Arizona Diamondbacks. But yeah, there you go. There's your Rule 5 draft. As far as the free agency goes, my general strategy is to wait and see. So maybe once the New Year's hits, I'll start looking at, how certain guys' prices have lowered, who's still available, and then I'll make some moves based on that. But yeah, I'm not really looking for anything in particular. I think third base is definitely an area of need. I think a right-handed power bat is something we could use. Maybe catcher, and then maybe starting pitcher. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But, this team as a whole, it's just fairly balanced. I don't think there's like just a massive hole. It's like, oh, this is clearly our worst position. But yeah, so I'll just have to base it based on availability and try to sign just, the best players I can. I know that's like very generic GM speak, but yeah, there you go. So my wait and see approach with free agency really hasn't worked this offseason. The CPU has been aggressive. It's been able to find deals for all the players that are big. And Houston in particular has been ultra aggressive. Houston got Bauer. They got Corey Seager. They got Max Scherzer. They must have some deep, deep pockets over there in Houston. Nolan Arenado is going to the Cubs. Nelson Cruz, 3-year deal to the Cubs. Syndergaard, at this price, would I have signed Syndergaard? Yeah, but I just wasn't really paying attention. My move was usually just to wait until New Year's and take a look at them. Syndergaard signing for that much money in December, that's on me. I did a bad job there. I should have stayed more proactive in terms of checking out these guys' prices. Greinke's going to Oakland. Simeon's going to Washington. Posey's going to the Angels. Simba's going back to the Angels. Chris Bryant's going to St. Louis. So we've kind of missed out on the big free agents. The biggest free agent left in terms of hitters is Donovan Solano. The biggest pitcher left is James Paxton, who's injury prone. So I'm not really looking to sign him right now. So the alternative that you can do, given that we still have just a ton of money to spend, is that we can start taking on money through trades, which means we can trade for players, not have to give up that much in terms of like player capital, because we're going to pay for the salaries of the players that we receive. So I have a few in mind. Let's take a look at one of them, because we've missed out on some big pitchers, but we can get a big pitcher through trade. Okay, this is a big, big trade for this team, so I'm actually really excited to go over it. We're going to be sending a lot of guys to get Sonny Gray and Jesse Winker. The biggest name, in my opinion, that we're sending is Dennis Santana. I really like Dennis Santana. I think he can pitch in the big leagues. I think he could do good things for us, but in terms of the pecking order, there are other pitchers ahead of him, and one of those would be obviously Sonny Gray once we get him. We have Dorwin Barreto thrown in, Davis Wenzel thrown in, Steele Walker, pretty good outfield prospect, throw him in, he's 25, and then Adelise Garcia, we throw him in. But in return, we don't just get Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray, who's 32, we get him for 2022, and then on a team option in 2023, both pretty well priced, I must say. We also get Wink. We get the Wink right there, Jesse Winker, who's having an unbelievable 2021 season in real life. For a team that did not hit very well, you get a player like Jesse Winker in there, that could pay huge dividends. And also, by trading for someone like Winker, it also, we can kind of keep the churn going in terms of these players, because I take a look at someone in our outfield right now, like Justin Williams, who's also a left-handed corner outfielder. This guy just had an amazing season. We can actually kind of sell high on Justin Williams, trade him, because I do think Winker is better. I think Winker is just a more reliable player, and we can get him. And with Winker, he can take up a corner outfield spot. He can take up a DH spot. So this would be a good guy to get in the lineup. But we do have a lot of lefty bats, so I'll probably turn around and trade Justin Williams after this. But yeah, I think this is a good trade. Theo Epstein does not think this is a good trade, but I think this definitely just makes us better. It adds a top of the line starter for us, at least, into the mix. And then we also get Jesse Winker, who I think becomes one of, if not the best hitters on the team. So let's go ahead and do this, and we will take on $10 million by doing this trade. So that's what I mean by taking on money. The good news is we have some increases in fan interest, so that's going to help. They're going to help draw fans to the ballpark as well. That's what's nice about it. Guys, I've been doing some looking around. I've been kicking the tires, and I really think that we can trade for Manny Machado. It's a question of how much do we want it, but I do think we can do it. And we have some third baseman types that we could toss into that trade because if we had Machado, hypothetically, they would be irrelevant to us. So I'm going to pursue trade talks with the Padres. Mr. Preller, let's see if we can get something done because third base, probably our weakest position on the field right now. We could turn it into a strength by adding Manny Machado, who would instantly become, in my opinion, the best player on the team. Ladies and gentlemen, what was the word that I used a lot in episode 1 to describe how I wanted to go through this process of building up the Rangers? Started with an A, accelerated. That's my vision for this series. Accelerated. Everything's pedal to the metal. We're building this team up fast. It started by making a ton of changes to this roster before opening day 2021 even. So when I ask myself, what kind of moves can I make to really build this team up quickly? Trading for Manny Machado is one of them. I'm not interested in tanking down to the very bottom and grabbing, first overall picks in consecutive years. That's not me. That's not my style, and that's not how I want to handle this series because, I wanted to go, 3 seasons with this and see what I could do. I got to make baseball bits. I got a life, people. The point is, I'm trading for Manny Machado because I can, and you can't stop me. And AJ Preller can't stop me either, Now, look, we're giving up a lot. We're giving up, so let's, we give up John King, we give up Luis Paulino, we give up Fabio. Those guys don't matter, okay? Okay. Kiner Falefa. He has the expectation to be in the starting lineup. I'm not sure if I can promise that to him at this point. I look at a guy like Anderson Tejeda, and I think that guy can do Kiner Falefa's job, for league minimum salary, and he's not going to complain. He's going to be happy to be a bench player. Josh Jung, that's the big one. Josh Jung, that guy can play. That's a good prospect for the Rangers in real life. He's kind of a stud. He finished the season in AAA for us, but he's not Machado. I've done the comparisons, and he's not Machado. Machado is basically this type of hitter with a lot of home run power, and he's a way better defender at third base too. So we're going to take on Machado and his contract. San Diego will retain 20%, but I think this is the type of move we have to make. You look at what Houston's done this offseason. If we ever want to sniff the playoffs, we need to kind of keep up with them. So if they're the cream of the crop, our counter move is to go and get Manny Machado and make third base, which is probably our weakest position, into our best position. So Manny Machado, welcome to the Texas Rangers. Also, this is going to boost, fan support a lot because he's a very popular player. Yep. Fan interest increase is amazing. We're changing the culture, baby. We are changing the culture. I've been looking a lot at our catching situation lately, and Jose Trevino is in many ways desirable in this game. And what he has that's desirable is that 70 catcher ability. You get someone with that 70, that 75, that 80. Oh my gosh, if you get that 80 catcher ability, that's catcher framing, and it can have a huge impact on your team ERA over the course of a year. And he did that for us, honestly. He took a pitching staff that was kind of iffy, and we had a pretty good pitching this season, particularly in the bullpen. Now, here's the thing about our long-term catching situation. We have Cal Raleigh, who's one of our top prospects, and he does not have this catcher ability, but he can hit. That guy's a serious power hitter, and he's someone we're just going to, plan for in the long term. He's going to start the season in AAA. I don't know if he'll get up to the majors in 2022. So the question is, who plays catcher for us in 2022? Because I think I know who plays catcher for us 2023 or beyond. If there's a stopgap out there, we could get them, and we could really improve this team in the short term. And I think I found him. That player is Christian Vasquez. Christian Vasquez, a great catcher. I think one of the best in the game overall. He's a souped-up version of Trevino. That's just a fact. He too has that 70 catcher ability, but he's a better hitter, and he is a captain, so he can help with that locker room in ways that Jose Trevino can't. And he has 1 year left on his deal, and then he'll walk. It could even be a thing where we could give him a qualifying offer potentially, depending on how well he does, and and that's great. So we're going to send over Trevino plus a few others, and we're going to get Vasquez. The Red Sox will cover 50% of that deal remaining. Theo Epstein thinks it's a bad deal. I disagree, Theo Epstein. I think we get Vasquez in here. Another good thing about Vasquez, he's also extremely popular. So in terms of making money for this team, by trading for Machado and Vasquez, we're bumping up the fan interest, which is going to bump up attendance. So that's great too. So let's go ahead and do that. Christian Vasquez, welcome to the team. Maybe it's just for 1 year, but welcome to the team nonetheless. And yep, huge increase in fan interest. So love that for us. Alrighty, I said Justin Williams, who, in 371 plate appearances, 100 games last year, he slashed 312, 358, 497, 127 OPS plus, 2.2 WAR, and limited playing time. This guy missed 6 weeks of the season. I said he was expendable, and the reason I said he was expendable is because we traded for Jesse Winker, and I believe that. And I think this is a player that we can sell high on. I look at these ratings. I don't think they're indicative of a 127 OPS plus hitter. So I think we can move on from Justin Williams, and the Brewers really want him. Every time I've shopped around, it's just Brewers. They love Justin Williams, and I'm gonna take him. So Josh Lindblom, right here, we can trade for just to give us another option. In terms of our starting pitching, because we have a lot of guys that are about this skill level. And so it's kind of my job to figure out who's good out of them. So we're going to get Josh Lindblom in the mix. And then who I don't have questions about is Drew Rasmussen. That's a true relief ace, 80 stuff, terrifying pitcher. We're trying to keep the bullpen as our strength. He can do that. Drew Rasmussen is popular. Josh Lindblom is very popular. So I think this trade makes sense also in terms of that fan interest. So we're going to see what we can do with this deal, just sort of add to the pitching. We don't really have star pitchers necessarily besides Sonny Gray, but I think we have enough, young, solid pitching that we can start to form the basis of a rotation. So we're going to make this move. And so Josh Lindblom, Drew Rasmussen, welcome. Justin Williams, you did a great job for us. I have no complaints. Quick update on our personnel. We've added a new pitching coach, Bryce Bentz, another Australian. We just love hiring the Australians. And then Joey DeMonte, I don't know. He's from New York, these guys, these New York guys. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, he has good ratings, so I'm happy to have him on our team as well as the hitting coach. Hall of Fame voting results are in, and the thing that I've noticed happening a lot in saves is that Clemens gets in, but Bonds doesn't in year 10. So Bonds drops off the ballot. Clemens gets in. Those two are so linked to one another, it's kind of hard to imagine one getting in and one not getting in. However, I will say, it's happened a little bit. You've seen ballots get released. They'll vote for Bonds, but they won't vote for Clemens. Or they'll vote for Clemens, but they won't vote for Bonds. Obviously, they end up with numbers that are very similar by the end of the voting period, but yeah, it's very strange to see. I that's something that I actually hope would not manifest in real life Hall of Fame voting. Schilling joins the Hall of Fame in his 10th year, and A-Rod joins in his first year. Of course, he's going to have an interesting candidacy because he's really rehabilitated his public image in a way that Clemens and Bonds never have. And I think a lot of that is just due to the fact that, when Clemens and Bonds got caught, it's like it was like a whole, younger baseball fans don't really remember this, but like they had to like testify in front of Congress, and Barry Bonds had like a perjury case. And I think when those things happened, we kind of lost the ability, for us to make amends with these two. It's not for Barry Bonds, for someone who, this guy, we had a perjury case on this for his involvement with Balco. How's this guy going to come out, 10, 20 years later and say, guys, I cheated. It's like, yeah, dude, we were, these guys had to testify. I mean, it's crazy. So A-Rod, because he got caught later, never really had to deal with any of that. I mean, he served a steroid suspension, don't get me wrong, but it was just a different type of time. So there's my little rant on the steroid era. We don't get closure on these two, and I don't think we ever will. Ortiz gets 60% in his first year. He has his own little role in that story as well. But yeah, there's your Hall of Fame. I've successfully signed a couple of free agents, Marwyn Gonzalez and Avisail Garcia. They're both, right-handed hitters. Well, Marwyn Gonzalez is switch, but they're both better at hitting left-handed pitching, and we have a lot of lefties in the lineup, so I'll have to balance for that. I'm not sure if both of these guys are actually going to end up making the roster, even though I have splashed some cash on them. I can actually, turn around and trade them potentially, but they're both solid hitters, solid players. I just think it just comes down to sort of whatever positions we need. So there you go. These guys may play a role in the team. They may not. We'll see. It's my job to kind of figure that out at spring training. But yeah, I signed these guys, and I like them both. I offered Marwyn before I traded for Machado, so I was thinking Marwyn would play third base for us, and now we have Machado, so I'll have to kind of figure that out. But honestly, Marwyn can do a lot of the stuff that Avisail Garcia can do because he can play a ton of positions. So probably only one will play a role in the team, but it's up to me to figure out which one that is. We are heading into spring training. Here are all the players that I have invited to spring training that are pitchers. It's our 40-man roster plus some prospects. Jack Leiter's going to join us at spring training. He's not going to break camp with the team in the majors or anything like that. He's only thrown 4 innings as a professional because of an injury he suffered, but we're going to get him some action at least. And then Drew Strotman's going to get some innings as well. He has potential to join the major league rotation at some point in his career. He expects to be in the starting rotation, which is very bold of him. But some storylines to follow for spring training. We have a lot of starting pitchers that are basically around the same level. Taylor Widener, Kyle Wright, Josh Lindblom, Brandon Bielak, Dane Dunning, Kohei Arihara. We have Bukowskis coming back from injury in a few weeks as well. What's that rotation going to look like? I think Puck has a spot and Sonny Gray has a spot, and those are the only 2 spots I can really guarantee at this point. So that's going to be a big storyline, is what does the rotation look like on opening day? I very much advocate for using spring training as a proving ground, so I'm going to really be looking at the spring training stats of all those guys to determine where they go. Do they go in the bullpen? Do they go in the rotation? Or do they go to AAA? The way I like to do spring training is I like just to clear everything. I just like to let the CPU do it. So I'll clear the pitching staff so that there's no defined roles here, and we can just do with them what we want. Now, as far as our hitters, you can see I've invited Cal Raleigh up to spring training. He's going to start the season in AAA. We've got Christian Vasquez starting at catcher to begin this year. He could get traded at the deadline if Cal Raleigh's ready. If not, he'll play the whole season. But yeah, Cal Raleigh's very much master of his destiny here. If he starts going crazy in AAA, he could be up at the majors, but he's not going to break camp with the team because he hasn't even touched AAA yet. A few other guys to keep an eye on. Nick Solak's an interesting one. He plays second base. He doesn't play it particularly well, but I do trust Nick Solak's bat. So I can trust Nick Solak's bat. You know whose bat I can't trust based on performance so far is actually Nate Lowe. So he has good ratings, but Nate Lowe hasn't hit well for us in the major league level yet. So the way I'm actually going to handle Nick Solak is I'm going to, for at least the time that he's at spring training, I am going to set some player strategy for him where I'm going to force the CPU to use him at first base so he can get some experience at first base. Because the way I see it, Vidal Brujan is really looking like he's the real deal, and he's more of your tried and true defensive second baseman, and so he's great. So if Brujan could be up playing second base for us early, and Solak I still really like. He can play other positions, but if he can learn first base, that would be helpful because it would just give us more options. Because Nick Solak's, he's gonna get his way into the lineup. He's kind of earned that based on his performance last year, but we're all about our positional versatility. So the other big storyline that's happening, I would say, is in center field. Center field, Mauricio Dubon, his outfield range has gone down to a 60, so he's not quite giving us that defensive value he once was in center field potentially. And Leody Taveras has developed some too. Last season, Dubon was getting primary center field reps. He was playing some second base as well, and he could definitely play some second base this year. But I think with the way, look, if Leody Taveras comes around, he's a player that, he has expectation for a bench player, but he's going to get reps this year. He got 300 plate appearances last year. I have a feeling he'll get more than that this year if he stays healthy. So center field is definitely something to pay attention to. Second base is definitely something to pay attention to when it comes to this team. But yeah, that's how I'm going to do it. And again, I'm going to clear out everything. Just clear out all the lineups, all the depth charts. The only instruction we sent these guys is, hey, Nick Solak first base. The other thing is, I know I signed Drew Butera to that deal, but I was able to get Roberto Perez on a minor league deal, and he's better. So I think what I'll probably end up doing is launching a team with Vasquez Perez to start the season. But we'll see. If Butera does extremely well, in spring training, it still could be his job. And then Zach Collins, like I said, I'm not interested in him as a catcher. I'm interested in him as a hitter, as a first baseman, as a DH. So that's kind of his deal. I know his position's set to catcher, but yeah, his 35 catcher ability, I don't want that. I can deal with Cal Raleigh's 55, but I don't want 35. So that's how this team is set up for spring training. Again, don't forget about Bukauskas. He tore that rotator cuff back in April. He's missed a year, basically. He's relief ace potential, and he may be a starting rotation potential too, because he's kind of like Fire Eisen. He's a nasty guy. He's a very nasty guy. So that's how the team's looking going into spring training. We're gonna cross our fingers for no injuries, and I will see you guys just at the end of it. I'm gonna skip through this spring training, then we'll teleport to the end of it, and it'll be opening day, and I'll give you all kind of the highlights of spring training. So we're here, we've made it to opening day, and there was exactly one casualty in spring training. That was Mr. Nick Solak, who, towards the very end, bone bruise in his knee. He's going to miss about the first month of the season. But honestly, that's kind of par for the course. So, overall, I can't complain about it too much. AJ Puck also suffered an injury. He suffered a 4-week bout with shoulder tendonitis, so he missed most of spring training, but he's okay to go opening day. So I'm happy with that. It's going to be up to me now, based on the spring training stats and the ratings to decide, who are the final 26 players who make this roster. And Solak being out makes things a little more interesting, I would say. So we've got that going for us. I wanted to take a look at the top prospects in the minor league rankings, because I think those are looking very much in our favor. So here's your updated top 10 prospects in baseball right here in this email. Number 1 is still David Mariscal, and my scout doesn't have much accuracy on him. OSA likes him a lot, but that scouting accuracy is very low. He hasn't made his pro debut yet. He's an international free agent signing from Panama, but he's number 1. Good for him. Jordan Lawler is number 2. He was the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Jack Leiter, he is ours, and he is number 5. He 4.11 ERA in spring training. That's not too bad, honestly. And even though he missed most of his first season because he suffered that 2-month injury, that was just so unfortunate. I can show it to you right here. Ulnar nerve entrapment. He got that in his first game after he faced his first batter. I'm hoping it's not going to have long-term consequences on his development. So we'll see. He's going to start this season either high A or double A. That's still yet to be determined. And here's the rest of them. Some new faces on this list, Mario Guadalupe, who is a pitcher. But then, some guys you'd expect to see, like Royce Lewis, who is now a Marlin. So he was straight to the Marlins for Pablo Lopez. So yeah, there you go, Pablo Lopez, who's an excellent pitcher, may I add. So that's what the top prospects we're looking at, if we look at top minor league systems, we actually have the second best system because we have Leiter, who's the fifth. We have Cal Raleigh. I'm still working on that. Raleigh. I have to just keep reminding myself. It's like the city. Cal Raleigh, 23rd. Vidal Brujan, 29th. Vidal Brujan, I mean, this guy's got to be eyeing a spot on the roster with Nick Solak hurt. Drew Strotman's 45th. I mean, this guy, the scouting reports on this guy just keep getting better and better. Like, based on when we traded for him, like, this is looking like an insane pitcher. I mean, very much, he's older than Leiter, but comparable to Leiter, I would say, in many ways. So that high intelligence has served his development very well. I'm so glad we were able to trade for both him and Vidal Brujan. We got that for just a Justin Foscue and Cole. I mean, this was just a fleecing because Foscue right now, he's fallen off a cliff. And, he had first round draft pedigree, but that has not worked for Tampa. We got Strotman and Vidal Brujan out of that. We also have Mason Englert, who is not even on my radar. My scout does not like him too much. That 35 movement potential. He's not a huge fan. OSA is a little bit more confident in him, but yeah, he's not a super big prospect in my eyes, but he is 97th. So that did actually put us out in front of the Phillies, funnily enough, by having that extra prospect. So whatever, that's that. I'll set up the prospect list very soon. But for now, I think what I'm going to do is decide who makes the major league roster. Okay, so I've made my cuts on the offensive side of things. The most sort of bubble player was Anderson Tejeda, who I ended up sending down to AAA. The problem with Tejeda was I wanted to sort of use him as this utility type player. He doesn't have much experience defensively, This shortstop rating could be higher, and if he plays more as a shortstop, this will be higher. And I need him to learn like second base. I need him to learn like third base. So I'm going to kind of manage him in a way where he can start picking up, experience at other positions, because I don't think he's going to really be a starter for us necessarily, at least not in the short term. But what I can do is I can start getting him experience at other positions within the infield. So let's train up his second base while he's in AAA. So that's kind of my plan. But yeah, Vidal Brujan, because honestly he has better experience at second base and shortstop, is going to make this team. So he's going to join the team on opening day, and it'll probably be our, it'll be like him and Marwyn has joined as well. So Avisail Garcia, I ended up just trading for, a random prospect. And then we have Marwyn, who won out basically based on his versatility. So he'll be able to play some second base, some corner outfield, some third base if something were to happen to Machado. So yeah, this is how we're going to look. I'll figure out how we actually line up later. The pitching has been a huge pain. We have really good pitching. And the thing is, in the rotation, we have so many guys. We have Brandon Bielak here. I actually sent down Dane Dunning, who was solid for us last year because he was so bad in spring training. So Dane Dunning's down there in AAA. Kyle Wright's down there in AAA. And I'm looking at this now. There's still 9 relievers here. And I like all these guys. Hyun-Jong Yang is, ratings-wise, not the best, but he was so good in spring training that he kind of just earned his spot on this roster to begin with. So I think what I'm probably going to do is look into trading Rafael Montero for a prospect of some sort, because this is just, we've built the stacked bullpen, and it's not just like these guys you're looking at right now, like Bukowskis, who I sent down to AAA. I'm going to train him up as a starter. I just don't know what to do with him. Like, he has this 40 stamina, so that's like super borderline. He has this 40 control, that's like super borderline, which you would want in a starter, but he's just so nasty with that 65 stuff, 65 movement. And so, I can turn him into a monster reliever. I'm sure of that much, but what if he could be in the rotation, and then now all of a sudden he's competing with some of these guys like Arihara and Widener, who have earned rotation spots for now. Josh Lindblom pitched really well in spring training. That's how he got a rotation spot. So I really looked a lot at the spring training statistics to determine this, set of pitchers. And if I just looked at ratings, it probably would have been pretty different. So This is where we're going to go with Gray, Puck, Lindblom, Arihara, Widener to start the season, but I imagine there'll be a lot of rotation. Gray and Puck are the only two that I really trust that much. So yeah, I'm going to figure out what to do with Montero real quick, because he is really good. He was our all-star last year, but if there's one guy I can trade here, it may be him. That may be the wise one to trade. All right, I think I found us a deal on Montero that's going to serve us well. We're going to send off Montero to Kansas City. We're also going to throw in Mason Angler, who, believe it or not, 97th prospect in MLB. I don't see it that way. I'm going to trust my scout and say, hey, this guy has 35 movement potential. You know, if he gets to the big leagues, he's going to allow a lot of home runs. He is high intelligence, so he is capable of developing past that potentially. However, you know, we've got ourselves a potential prospect here, Eduardo Garcia, who looks like he could be a really nice player. He's only 19, which I like. You know, so it's tough to trade for some of these younger prospects. So we're going to go ahead and make this trade. I may regret it. Mason Englert may, you know, develop well beyond this and truly turn into one of the better pitching prospects. But in my mind, you know, Jack Leiter's well ahead of him. Drew Strotman's well ahead of him. And I would just go ahead and make this trade, and it'll make it just easier for me to have, you know, the 8-man bullpen I'm looking for. Montero served us very well. He was our all-star in 2021. But, you know, when we're still trying to churn through and get, you know, a good prospects. So, and I think Eduardo Garcia is a better prospect than Englert. So we're going to go ahead and make this trade. All right, at long last, I have set up the team. And the thing is, this team, as we're building it, particularly with the pitching staff, we're not quite there yet with the hitters yet, the position players, but the pitching staff, it's not just about the 26, okay? It's not just about the 26 on the active roster. To win in MLB, you need to be 40 deep. You need to be deep beyond just who's on the active roster. And I think with the pitching staff, we're there. We aren't there with our hitters yet, but we one day could be. So just keeping that in mind, this organization is so much more than the players you see right now. So we're going to take a look at our lineups. This is how we're going to line up against right-handed pitchers. Zach Collins is going to lead off. He's going to be more of the prototypical leadoff man of today than the leadoff man of the past. You know, you look at this guy, you say, hey, 65 home run power, 45 contact. This guy hits 200. Why is he leading off? Because I have faith that Zach Collins can be an above-average OBP guy. So that's why he's doing it, because I have faith that he can get on base. He's slow. That's okay. That's okay. The game is not built around speed right now. Jesse Winker, he's going to hit second. He's a beast, but he's a platoon bat in this game at least. He's been hitting lefties better as a Red in real life. He's kind of emerging into this sort of superstar level of performance, but in this game, he's a platoon bat, but he's a damn good one. First swear word, by the way. I know it's a very light one though. I swore a lot in the the OOTP original series with the White Sox. Okay, Manny Machado. He's gonna bat third. He's Manny Machado. He's the best player. Nate Lowe. We're gonna give you a chance, Nate Lowe. We're gonna give you a chance, but we have options. You know, Marwyn Gonzalez. He can play some first base. Figure it out, man. This is your year. Last year was not your year, but this year we're hoping it'll be your year. He bats cleanup. Marwyn Gonzalez, we're going to start him out playing at second base. We're going to keep Brujan rotating in, though. You could give him some reps. Yeah, it just depends. If Marwyn struggles out the gate, then it's probably going to belong to Brujan, and you got to keep in mind Solak's out for the first month, but when he comes back, that's going to add another wrinkle into things because he's kind of proven himself, but yeah. So for now, it's Marwyn Gonzalez second base with Brujan appearing at second and short fairly often. Taylor Trammell, he's going to play right field for us. And if I was smart, I would have trained him up for right field during spring training. So his defensive stats may suffer in the early months of the season, but he'll get experience and he'll learn how to play right field, and it'll work out for them. But Winker's a left fielder. That's just sort of the problem. And the thing with Trammell is he's not a huge platoon splits guy according to his ratings, so hopefully he's going to work out. Last year, you know, he didn't hit too well, didn't show too much power. His stats are starting to come along offensively. I'm hoping he can turn in an above-average offensive year to complement what was a Gold Glove in left field last season. Christian Vasquez, we have him up next. Beast, good player, 65 catcher ability. I think it was 70 when we traded for him, but He's fine. Roberto Perez, by the way, backing him up. So we got rid of Butera. Roberto Perez is going to serve that role. He has 80 catcher ability. We love catcher ability, don't we, folks? JP Crawford coming in at shortstop. He had such a bad start to last year, but then he kind of started to put it together towards the end. I still have faith in him. He's a good defender at shortstop, so you have to give him respect for that. So yeah, he's going to play shortstop for us. And then Leody Taveras taking over in center field for Mauricio Dubon. Mauricio Dubon, his center field defense has become sus, and we feel like Leody Taveras is who we want out there every day if we're going to play as a defensive team, which is what we want to do. Again, defense, bullpen, team chemistry, those are the things that we care about. So he's going to play center field for us every day. He's going to play against the lefties too, so good for him. Chaz McCormick leads off against left-handed pitching. Very much a different look. And don't count this guy out because he was a 103 OPS plus guy. He's a good defender. And this guy's a solid player. He's a platoon bat. And he basically takes Winker's spot because that moves Trammell over to left. Nate Lowe's going to DH. Is he DHing? Yeah, he's going to DH against the lefties, or hit second, excuse me. So again, we're having a lot of faith in him because we do like the ratings. And keep in mind, we have very high accuracy on this guy. So we just need to see him hit. We just need to see him hit, and that would be so good for the team. If not, we'll have to figure out what to do about that. Mauricio Dubon returns to play second base against left-handed pitching. He's better hitter against left-handed pitching. He is a solid second base player. In fact, we should probably set him to second base if that's what's his primary position for us is going to be. And his range has just gone down a lot. But he was quite good for us. Well, I wouldn't say quite good, but he was decent for us last year. Actually led the team in runs batted in. So he's going to play more utility role. And the thing is, you got to keep in mind, he's only here. Solak's going to be back in a month. Solak's going to be back in a month, and Brujan's lurking. So I think it's pretty temporary, the spot he's in. But yeah, he's hitting third. I might just swap him with Marwyn and feel a little bit better about that. And then we put Vasquez here. Yeah, he's slipped. He's slipped. I like him, but he has slipped. Anyways, Marwyn, he'll hit third now, play first base. Manny Machado, his deal. Clean up against the lefties. Christian Vasquez. Vasquez is he runs some platoon splits, so he can hit the lefties better than the righties generally. So we can move him up in the lineup. Dubon, Trammell left, Leody Taveras center, JB Crawford shortstop, and hitting ninth against the lefties. And the thing about Crawford is he didn't hit against the lefties as much last year because we were still doing platoon type stuff, but some of these guys like Trammell and Crawford, they're going to get chances to hit against left-handed pitching this year, and I hope they do well. Speaking of pitching, let's look at that. Here's how we have it set up. It's very much sort of, I would say, a temporary setup. There's some depth of pitching in this organization. I'm going to be sure to show that off. But Sonny Gray, AJ Pug, Josh Lindblom, Kohei Arihara, Taylor Widener, that's the starting rotation for now. That's what you got to keep in mind. That's the rotation for now. These guys earned it with good spring training performances, particularly Lindblom, Arihara, and Widener. Puck and Gray pretty much already had their spots, but everyone else had to earn theirs. In terms of how we'll set up the bullpen, keep in mind Rafael Montero has been traded away. Drew Rasmussen is going to take that eighth or later with a lead stopper, so he's going to be our equivalent to a closer. Brett Martin is going to be our equivalent to a setup man, so he gets promoted. He had a really good spring training. He's a really good pitcher. And then DeMarcus Evans, stopper as well. Matsek, Jonathan Hernandez, Blake Taylor in middle relief. Hyunjin Yang, who I said had a monster spring training. He sticks on this big league roster as a long reliever, as does Brennan Bielak. Brennan Bielak has great ratings. Could easily see him, if any of these guys falters, he'll probably be the next man up in the rotation. Let's just look at AAA real quick, too, because I would have to stress what we have going on there in terms of the pitching. We have, Kyle Wright's down there. Dane Dunning's down there. Bukowskis is down there. We're going to try him as a starter in AAA. He has very much relief ace potential if he just can't make it work as a starter. So he'll find his way onto the big league roster. Taylor Hearn had a pretty good spring training. We're going to leave him AAA. So there's just a ton of guys down there that we'll be able to rotate in throughout the season, depending on how the big league guys do. Cal Raleigh's down there too, by the way. And this guy, I'm telling you, this guy is looking pretty good. He's going to push Christian Vasquez potentially before the season is over. So yeah, there you go. Let's take a look at our prospects because we've looked at our major league level, but I've redone the prospects list. I've taken some guys off. And the way I did that is I just kind of looked at their, full projected ratings and I asked myself, hey, if they were to meet these, would I be excited about them as a major league player? And if I wasn't excited by it at all, I just took them off. So this is our current setup for the minors. We're going to start looking at some rookie ball guys. Billy Amick from South Carolina. He was a high schooler. I drafted him in the 8th round, and I did do that manually, but I only showed the first 5 rounds, if you'll recall. He's a high intelligence guy, but he's low work ethic. I think those things will kind of balance out in the end, but he looks like he could be a solid hitter, and he looks like he could be, an average defender at third base maybe, so we're going to keep an eye on him. I'm not saying he's destined for superstardom, but we're going to keep an eye on him. Christopher Bernal, again, 13th rounder, so a guy drafted off screen. I did the first, I believe, 20 rounds by myself, and then I did the CPU for the rest. He doesn't have much contact potential. However, he does have power and eye potential, kind of like a Zach Collins almost. And but yeah, so that's him, and we're gonna start him in rookie ball. He's got a long way to go, but he's someone worth keeping an eye on. Grant Hussey was our 5th round draft pick. We're gonna start him in rookie ball as well. He was very young. He's still only 18 right now, so we can have him repeat rookie ball, which he struggled in last year. But take a look at this guy. If this were to develop all the way, he could be very much a solid hitter. So we like that for him. Steven Hajar. Actually, let's look at A-ball guys first. I don't know why it sorts like this. Anyways, Kevin Abel was our 4th rounder last year. He is teetering on the edge of relevance. We're going to have him repeat A-ball. And he's a guy who could fall off this prospect list. It just hasn't. He was going to have to, overperform his projected stuff, movement and control with his high intelligence. And that hasn't happened yet. So he's 23 too. Luis Angel Acuna, who still has 2 months of injury recovery time. We're going to start him in A-ball again. We started him in A-ball last year. Gave him 16 games there. He was terrible. We moved him back to rookie ball where he did better. We're going to try him in A-ball this year. See if it's time. He's 20, and also he's Ronald Acuna Jr.'s cousin. Zion Bannister, I still believe he's his cousin. I didn't look it up. Zion Bannister, you look at these King stats, you're like, that's not so great, but there's some potential here as an actual center fielder. So we're going to try him in A-ball somewhat aggressively. We'll see what he can do. Again, he's another guy that's kind of teetering on the edge. Evan Carter, he's got some power. We're going to give him a shot in A-ball this year. He's just 19 still. He's exciting. Eduardo Garcia, we just traded for him, Kansas City, and we're going to give him a shot at A-ball. He actually played here some last year, but he didn't hit well. Hopefully with an offseason of work, he'll be ready to handle A-ball. I think he will be able to handle it this time around. Daley Lyle was our 2021 second rounder. You saw me pick him. He's going to start the season in A-ball after a decent debut in rookie ball, so we're going to try him out there. He's 19 as well. Anyways, in high A, we don't have too many guys, but we do have Jack Leiter starting in high A. You'll recall Jack Leiter, we drafted him 2nd overall. He suffered a 2-month injury, and I was just so sad because it was just like he really just ended up missing all of his first pro season. Now he gets a full season of work, and I'm hoping he can continue to develop. His ratings are looking at like about what they were when he drafted him, so I don't think it's really affected his development too much, so I still have, pretty high hopes for him. Steven Hajar was our 3rd rounder. We went over slot for him, and he debuted in A-ball. He pitched 54 innings. He pitched okay. We're going to try him in high A. He's 21. He's very much kind of tracking with Jack Leiter, which is good for his development, I guess. We don't really have anyone in Double A at the moment, although I imagine I'd love to see either one of these get there. So our AAA guys, we've got Tejeda, who I'm trying to basically train up to be a good utility player. So we're going to try to train him up at second base, maybe train him up at third base where he'd probably actually play the best. And so that's kind of my goal with Tejeda, get him to be a utility player for us. So I think he can do that. I think he can be a kind of Falefa type, maybe not quite as good defensively. Drew Strotman, this guy, I mean, you look at a guy with 55 stuff potential, 60 movement potential, 55 control potential, you're like, wow, like that, those are better numbers than Leiter, arguably. Problem is he's 25, so we're not sure if he's going to be able to fulfill all that, but he does have high intelligence. We're going to leave him in AAA for now, but this guy, if he starts pitching really well in AAA, majors for sure. He hasn't pitched yet in AAA though. That's the only kind of thing. Cal Raleigh, like we said, he's going to push Christian Vasquez this year. I can feel it. And Wyatt Mills is down there. He's depth. He's depth. I wouldn't even really consider him a prospect at this point. He's 27. Yanni Hernandez is down there. If it's between Hernandez and Tejeda for a certain role, I guess I would probably take Tejeda, to be honest with you. So Yanni Hernandez, not super interested in right now. And Sherten Apostle, if something were to happen to Manny Machado, my plan would be to use Sherten Apostle. Until then, though, I'm not really sure. He's very similar to Josh Jung, who we just traded, and I'll just have to figure out what to do with him because he's good, but it's hard to get him a spot because we have Manny Machado, so he's kind of blocked. Poor guy. So, anyways, that's our prospects. That's our team. That's what we're looking at right now, and I hope you all enjoyed the episode. A lot happened. It was a big off season, and I hope we can carry that momentum into a winning season in 2022. Thank you all for watching.